Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This time we're going to be looking at Huncoat Power Station first and then Huncoat Station. This is the next part of the series of the East Lancashire line. So without further ado, the Huncoat Power Station was planned by Accrington Corporation in 1946. The Accrington Corporation Electricity Committee appointed Mr H. Clark to advise the corporation on the design, construction and commissioning of a £5 million new station for a fee of £125,000. He was to pay the borough electrical engineer £15,000 and £11,000 to other officers and members of staff and £9,000 to special staff appointed by the corporation. These arrangements were approved by the Central Electricity Board. Plans were drawn up and development was authorised by the Minister of Fuel and Power, Hugh Gateskill, in the late 1947, following a public inquiry held in August 1947. The station was located to utilise coal from the neighbouring Huncoat colliery and the wider Burnley coalfield. The station was 2.5 miles north-east of Accrington. The power station was designed by the architect Robert Norman McKellar. The first sod of the power station was dug by the Mayor of Accrington on the 31st of January 1948, and following nationalisation of the electricity industry from April 1948, ownership of the power station was vested to British Electricity Authority, which continued construction of the power station and which first became operational in 1952. The main buildings of the power station were constructed on the south-west to north-east axis. The boiler house and the two chimneys were to the northwest, and successively to the southwest were the turbine house, the control room, switch house and grind switchgear. An administrative block was to the southwest of the main buildings, and the two cooling towers were east of the main building, and the coal store, including a screening and crushing house, was to the north-east side of the site. Have you got that? There was also a water treatment plant, a water settling tank and an ash sump. The power station initially received coal from the nearby Huncoat colliery, as earlier mentioned, by a half-mile railway line and sidings. These were on the north side of the railway line and transported coal to the station by an overhead conveyor enclosed in a concrete duct. The colliery was closed in 1968 as uneconomic, after which the power station received coal by railway from a wider area. The station was closed by the Central Electricity Generating Board in 1984. The cooling towers were demolished on the 16th of October 1988 and the two chimneys in the main buildings were demolished in September 1990. The 132 kilovolt grid substation to the south of the power station is still operational. Following the demolition of the main buildings, the administration block remained and was visited and visually recorded by several commentators as an example of derelict industrial archaeology. We will now move on to Huncoat Station itself, which obviously was located next to Huncoat Power Station. Surprise, surprise. The railway came to Huncoat on the 18th of September 1848, 2 days after being inspected and passed for use by Captain Wynne. The first station was built closer to Hapton on Altham Lane and moved to its present site in 1902. The station, 2 miles from Accrington, catered for goods and passenger traffic, but the increases in industrial premises around the station saw Huncoat develop a very strong base of freight traffic. By 1904, the station boasted a large goods yard, which dealt with mill traffic, coal and brick. Private sidings at Huncoat served Hargreaves G and Company, Accrington Brick and Tile Company, Winnie Hill Plastic Brick Company, and Huncoat Brick and Terracotta Company. In 1912, the station was virtually rebuilt and the neat brick station consisted of a porter's room, lamp room, and a ladies' waiting room with toilet, booking office, parcel office, general waiting room, and outside gentlemen's toilet. By the early 1930s, the three local collieries, Broadmeadows, Moorfield and Winnie Hill, two coke works, and the Norrie brickworks were all rail connected in a complex rail system that joined the main line at Huncoat and Witham Grove. Part of the old embankment of this system can still be seen from passing trains. Privately owned steam locomotives named after birds, robin, linnet, lark, raven and kestrel worked the colliery branches. Winnie Hill Brickworks named their engine with the company name, as did Norrie. At the Huncoat end of the system, the branch spanned Clough Brook, and this was on an 8-arch viaduct. Immediately to the rear of the Burnley platform were large coke ovens, all rail served. Just before war broke out in 1941, the station won a Railway Award for the tonnage of freight it handled, reflecting how industry had developed around the station since the arrival of the railway. The Huncoat colliery reached its zenith of production in the early 1950s, when 1,300 tonnes of coal was mined in a day. The construction of Huncoat Power Station between 1950 and 1956 brought more traffic to the railway. The pit closed in 1960. The power station, as earlier mentioned, in 1984, and the Huncoat Brickworks closed in 1992. Goods traffic was a thing of the past, and at the station, which became a small halt, with bus shelters replacing the old station buildings. The current station, managed by Northern, also has a very active group of volunteers, Hands on Huncoat, supported by the East Lancashire Community Rail Partnership, who have breathed new life into the station and improved the ambience for passengers with their floral displays and presence at the station. So that's the end of this video. The next video we'll be looking at Accrington, which is very much changed to what it is now. I would also again give credit for the information in this video in regards to the railway station to Community Rail Lancashire. Please do head on to their site and look at their historical posters on the railways. And until the next video, take care of yourselves. Thank you for listening. Remember to like, share and subscribe. And that's it. Goodbye.